Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're working on a 1974 classic Beetle. We're going to be looking at the steering coupler, which is what connects your steering column to your steering box. These can wear out over time, so let's take out the gas tank and take a look at what we have to deal with on this 74.
So here's something that's kind of interesting on this car. I believe that the steering coupler's never been changed because it's a rivet looking thing, both sides. So that's kind of different. So we're gonna change it because it's all cracked up. We're gonna drill this out, I guess. We don't have a choice. I'm gonna put some bolts in instead. So basically we're gonna try and drill the center of this, get it to let go, see what happens. So you can see over here, I've drilled out almost all the rivets. They're not punching through. I believe that they're seized into the sleeve that's inside the coupler. Also, you can see the cracks in the coupler. Those were already there. I just pried on it to see what the shoulder was doing here, but it was already cracked. So it's cracked all the way around at all the junctions. Definitely want to replace one that's this bad. So now I'm going to break apart the coupler, and then I'm going to try and get this rest of this rivet out so we can put the new coupler and the bolts and nuts in there. I ended up having to cut through the donut each of these studs because even if I drill the ends, they're seized into the part. So yeah, so basically I cut through the donut at each stud, separating it. Now I'm going to see if I heat this, can we punch it through, or am I going to have to drill it out completely. So let's see what happens with that. I'll put the camera away with the heat, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so as we continue with the steering coupler disaster, yeah, so this thing has the steering coupler with the rivets as we saw. Again, my theory is that's the original one from 74. Maybe a factory riveted them in, unless someone else did this, which I can't understand why. Regardless, we continue. So I had these ones that were drilled out, and then after that I had to massacre the original steering coupler with a hacksaw because the whole thing was not coming apart because these are seized in. So I basically cut through the center of the coupler so that way you're not damaging either end part, and then kind of destroyed the coupler to get the two parts to separate. Once they're separated, I was able to slide off the one connected to the steering column shaft, and now we have the one connected to the gearbox, to the steering box. So next one now, this is seized onto the shaft of the gearbox or steering box, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to try and heat up the end and knock this out. I was able to do it on one, on the other piece. So we're going to try and see if we can knock it out. Otherwise I'll have to drill them out. Maybe I can free it up. If not, I'll have to drill it out in place. Heating didn't help in this case. It's really seized in there. So I started drilling it. And there we go, it's out. So we're ready to go and put everything back together. Let's get our new steering coupler. Let's get our other piece back in here, line up the steering with the wheels, and then bolt everything together. That's the next step on this steering coupler bonanza. The parts we're going to install now that the disaster rivets are gone. We got a steering box coupler. I like to go with the non-urethane kind. We got a install kit, which is just screws, washers, and lock nuts. I like to add, probably double up on the washers, one behind the head of the bolt and one behind the nut. We'll see if we have room. This is our part on the other side with the rivets removed, and our part in the car with the rivets removed, not damaged. So now we're going to clean up the metal shavings everywhere, and then we're going to line up the steering column shaft and the box, put in the coupler, tighten everything up, torque everything, and then that's one more thing done on this car. So let's get that done. So we got the coupler and the bolts installed, crisscross, applesauce bolts. So one set of bolts goes with the bracket on the steering box and then holds the rubber coupler. The other set of bolts goes with the steering column and then holds the coupler. these two never really meet except through the coupler itself.
Okay, now that the coupler is installed, we're just going to finish off by tightening the clamp on the steering box side and on the column side. Make sure you put back your ground wire for the horn. Double check everything's tight, make sure everything's torqued down. Hope this helps you guys out. You shouldn't have this much problems if you've already had it replaced before. Good luck with your steering coupler. See you on the next one.